Hello everybody. My name is Tim. I am making this video and possibly a future series of videos because I'd like to offer my perspective or some perspectives that I have taken that have allowed me to not take control of my life, but understand how I've been stopping myself from being the just best person I could be or developing in general. I want to thank you for opening the video as it is, giving me a shot. I just have to ask for your patience because it's not. While I like to try to my best to explain these concepts succinctly, um, not just for you but also for me to understand them as well. It's kind of new to me, but so the title of this is called. The title of this video is called "What Does It Mean to Be Egotistical?" So when we think of somebody who is egotistical, we think of somebody who boasts of themselves, who think they are the greatest, or one of the best at what they do, or who they are in general. At the base of it, there's just a sense of superiority. You don't have to think you're the best necessarily, but like better relatively, or just like the better of a subsection of a group of people you may belong to. And so when we think of somebody who's egotistical, um, we understand that these people believe this about themselves, and that is we can assume that since this is what the people think about themselves, that's also how their internal monologue works. So we all have a voice that is constantly, almost constantly, talking and describing the things that are going on around us. This person who is egotistical believes these thoughts that are internal to them. But we have associated the egotistical person as somebody who boasts of positively how they are. So to understand the word egotistical, we need to understand what kind of ego we're also talking about. I'm not talking about Freud's ego. It's not the concept of the superego and the id and the ego being like, the angel and devil on your shoulder kind of thing. It's the ego as the self-concept. So what the ego is at its core, as in the context of how I'm explaining these things, is that your ego is who you are according to you, but what you accept as truth. So I would say I'm a highly detailed and analytical person. I describe myself with these labels and these adjectives to make sense of my past behavior, and look to the past and think of all the things that I've done. So it follows that since this person who thinks so positively of themselves, they're just focusing on the greatest things that they've done, or the things that they've done while not considering, the lower, or not lower, but the more questionable things, I guess, morally questionable or questionable from any other viewpoint or circumstance. So, but when we, or as it follows, this positive voice, when it's also the negative voice, when it says, I can't do this because I'm too dumb. I can't learn math because I'm dumb. I can't go to this party because I'm too shy. That is your ego. That is the voice that is talking in your head and trying to make sense of the things going on around it, the past, and projecting into the future how it will be, and often either if it's a positive projection or a negative projection. But the ego, it's important to realize that the ego is separate from who you actually are, because we're often told, nobody knows us better than us, but this gets complicated when we consider the ego, because it's when we consider the bad things we've done, or at least the bad things, or the things we've done that we consider bad ourselves. It makes us these are often painful things to realize. So some of us may choose to ignore those things, and not consider the whole thing when talking about the self-concept. So basically, you're different from the voice who is talking in your head, because the voice in your head is often talking about what's already latently in your head. There's a concept called priming, which is like, I don't know, you see a McDonald's logo, so therefore you're more likely to eat McDonald's later, or something like that. It goes deeper than just the narration of your thoughts. So also, another point to consider with the separation and distinction of the ego and who you are is that who you are requires analyzing the past, but the past as well as the future are both relative terms, because the human brain has the capacity to conceptualize this thing. But the truth is, we think about the future, tomorrow. The future never happens. What always happens is right now, the present moment. There is constantly a present moment happening. It's as I'm looking at my hands right now, moving them to and fro. This now that I'm experiencing is not the now that you're experiencing, because you are focused, maybe looking into my eyes, trying to understand what I'm saying, hear what I'm saying, because my experience of the now is different than when you're experiencing this video. So all there ever has been and all there has been and all we've had is now. We've never been to the future. It was just a series of nows until the sun was rotating in a position to the description that we describe it with the Gregorian calendar. So what we mean when we say, oh, we'll get back to you next week, we're just saying when the sun is just, or when we're a little bit closer around the revolution of the sun, we use these descriptions of the sun to make sense of the anticipated events, because we understand now that the earth revolves around the sun. So this is kind of a new, this is a new venture for me. I apologize if I didn't put it into exactly the best terms. I'd be willing to remake this video or, give it another shot. If you're willing to leave a comment, I would really appreciate that. In case something was hazy, I would love to explain it. I try not to I don't want to assert this as the truth. Any of the things I've said, I just want to emphasize that they are my perspective that have helped me deal with the things in my life and the emotions I try to deal with. So again, a comment or something like that, any feedback would be helpful. So thank you again for watching. Thank you for giving this a shot. Hopefully if this works out well, I'll, as I mentioned, revise the video and continue to make more. This is just one that's been coming up a lot in my own head. So thank you again. Bye.